In today's episode of Today in World War II, December 17th, the German pocket battleship Graf Spee has an ignominious end. The British Home Office sentences a British housewife to death for spying. Five French prisoners carry out an amazing escape from the hardest POW camp in Germany to escape from. Uh, American ace in the Pacific got his 40th victory. And finally, the SS murders 150 American troops in the Ardennes. Let's get started. Okay, so we've been chronicling the adventures of the German pocket battleship Graf Spee, and I believe it was yesterday or the previous day, last couple of days video. I said that the Graf Spee had a naval battle with a group of, I believe, four British heavy cruisers, and the Graf Spee got off the worst for it, and so it ran, well, sailed, but it ran, to neutral waters of Uruguay and the port of Montevideo to effect repairs. The Germans did everything they could diplomatically to have the Uruguayans agree to let them repair their ship and sail out before the British could assemble an unbeatable force, including battleships and aircraft carriers, which were on the way, by the way. But the Uruguayans said, no, we are a neutral country. You have 3 days to get out, or we're going to intern you for the duration of the war. Well, the German captain of the Graf Spee saw the writing on the wall, and he said, "Well, we're going to leave." So he left, but before he got to the British troops, excuse me, the cruisers that were waiting for him, he scuttled the ship, and he couldn't bear the shame, so he did a la samurai in Japanese culture, and he took out a gun and shot himself in the head and killed himself. So that was a very ignominious end to the adventures of the Graf Spee in the South Atlantic in the early days of the war in 1939. I would like for you to have a more than ignominious end. And why end it at all, actually? Let's keep this relationship going. And the way to do that is to subscribe to my channel. Just click subscribe, click the button that says, to the bell that gives you notifications whenever I drop a new video. That would be good for you, good for me, good for world peace, good for everything. Okay. So on December 17th, 1940, the British Home Office announced that they had hung the third member of a German spy ring, which they had uncovered, that was obviously doing espionage against them. And what was interesting was that on the same day, they sentenced to death a British housewife who was involved in the spy ring. So it's interesting. I'm not sure what the motivation would be for a British housewife to be involved in a German espionage ring, for ideological points of view, maybe reasons. Maybe she was a fascist. I don't know. Maybe her husband was involved in the wing. I have no idea. But whatever, for whatever reason, they ordered her to hang. So the Brits didn't mess around. Actually, I'll get into this in later videos, but in general, the British MI5, the counterintelligence wing of the Secret Service, did a hell of a job in uncovering and turning to double agents, German espionage networks. Now, in this case, they went ahead and hung them, which means that the Germans decided not to cooperate. But most of the time, they cooperated, and the British fed them false information to the Germans to help them to fool the Germans of what their intentions were. And I'm never going to fool you on my intention to have you like every single video that you watch and then leave a comment, because that is absolutely the best way to get YouTube, the algorithm, to show my content to more people. So you help me, I help you. You wash my back, I'll wash yours. Metaphorically, I don't want to wash your back, okay? And I don't think you want to wash mine either, okay? So on December 17th, 1941, five French prisoners from the infamous prisoner of war camp in Colditz in East Germany. They literally had a POW camp inside a castle, and they were able to escape. They were sent to the dentist in the town for treatment. On the way back, they were escorted by three guards. Three of the French ran in different directions, and three of them were able to get out, reach neutral territory. Usually they went to Switzerland and were able to get out. I have been to Colditz Castle. I have done tours there. As I've said in previous videos, I am an absolute glutton for any stories about any POW escapes, especially in World War II, especially with Allied sold POWs escaping from Germany. You really should read books about. There's a great book by one of the inmates, Patrick Reed. He wrote a book about it, and he eventually escaped himself. Fascinating, fascinating. I strongly recommend that. On December 17th, 1944, the American pilot Richard Bong, who flew P-38 Lightning aircraft, twin engine aircraft, he eventually would become the highest scoring ace, a high scoring American ace in the war. He fought only in the Pacific, only against the Japanese. But on today's date, he scored his 40th victory. Um, it was interesting because the P-54, excuse me, on P-38 Lightning was also used in the European theater when the Americans came into the war, but it was not all that successful. It didn't do very well in dogfights against the Me-109 and the Focke-Wulf 190 that the Luftwaffe had, but its strengths were really well used in the Pacific. You were talking about major distances. The P-38 was a land-based weapon. It was not a carrier-based aircraft. So it had, four machine guns in the nose of the plane. The engines were on the wings, so there was nothing to get in the way of just sending out amazing firepower. The Japanese planes were pretty no, were not armored at all. You could light them up like a torch pretty easily. And using the right tactics, which was dive and attack and not get involved, not get in the middle of dogfights with the Japanese Zeros, it was very effective. And Richard Bong became, like I said, the most successful ace that the U.S. had in the war. And finally, a very sad and barbaric story. The Battle of the Bulge had already started. The Germans had invaded to the Ardennes. They tried to go against the weakest sectors of the American armed forces there. They overran elements of the United States 285th Field Artillery Observation Battalion. The SS were the ones that overran it. And like the SS was tended to do, no matter where they fought, they did not believe in taking prisoners. And so they lined up these unfortunate soldiers in the middle of the field, in the middle of in the snow-covered field, freezing temperatures, and started machine gunning them. And they killed 184 POWs. 43 managed to escape either by playing dead or fleeing into the nearby forest and were able to survive. The SS that committed this war crime were eventually the ones who survived the war were eventually tracked down and were executed for crimes against humanity and for murder of our POWs. Well, thank you for watching this video today. I always love it when you get this far and you watch all my content. I look forward to giving you more quality content tomorrow.